Sorry about the lack of videos lately. I've had a lot going on with family stuff, but this is a fun one to almost be finished up with. This is a client's Telecaster, obviously, and he brought it to me to have the Joe Glaser Brent Mason wiring installed. So we installed this Gibson mini humbucker on the Seymour Duncan stacked Strat, the hot rails kind of thing, and the stacked Tele bridge. So volume for the whole shebang, tone for the whole shebang, push-pull on this that selects this. And then what was supposed to be a volume pot for this, I've changed it to a blend, more on that. And some quibbles I have with this whole setup. My quibbles may not be your quibbles. Let me take the amp out of standby and let's see what it sounds like. So out of the gate, we've got standard three-way. With this down, I've got it down for a reason I'll get to. You got bridge, neck. So here's the neck, the mini humbucker. Nice clarity for a neck humbucker. Bridge middle. I'm sorry, the middle position on the switch is bridge and neck. Bridge, neck. And then the bridge. And I've got the bridge kind of up a bit. If you watch your right-hand dynamics, you can match them. But if you want to dig in, this can go a little bit farther than this can go. This is limited by its height. It's as close to the strings right now as it needs to be without getting into magnetic weird pulls or losing that clarity that this pickup has. Real nice neck mini humbucker. You can have it be louder as soon as that bridge comes in, but you can have it quieter. And the bridge. And standard tone circuit, 47 nanofarad. Nice sweep on that. So all that standard stuff. Now, if I pull this pot up, we engage the middle pickup. So if we're in the neck by itself, neck plus middle. We're in neck and bridge. Now all three. And bridge. Bridge and middle. But there's a fine-tune control, and in the stock Fender setup, these were wired as two different volume pots, so when this was down, this was off, and when this was all the way clockwise, this was on. But to make that happen so that neither pot muted the output, you didn't want to turn this down and have the entire signal cut out, they had it wired like a jazz bass or a Rickenbacker. So the pickups were going to, the pickup here and the output of the switch for these two was going to the wiper of each pot respectively, and lug 3 on each pot was joined together and going to the output jack, which meant that you could turn this down and not mute this, and you could turn this one down and not mute these, but the amp was never muted, so the amp would actually hum when you turn the volume all the way off. You want to hear the pickup output, but the amp would be humming. Now, if you're using a volume pedal or a tuner pedal that mutes, those are workarounds, and I'm sure Brent Mason did that. I think he was just married to his volume pedal for a lot. But I like a guitar to behave optimally when you're just going straight into an amp, so you don't have to have other devices. So what I've done is I've wired it so this is a blend pot, so it doesn't actually have ground, it's just doing a series resistance. But because of the nature of pot tapers, the best control is to wire this backwards, so counterclockwise has more pickup and clockwise has less of this pickup. If there was a really high quality reverse audio taper 250K pot or 500K pot, I'd use that. 250K probably be the right choice, just because this at its extreme of 250K, you can't really hear it. It's very subtle. But this way, when you roll the volume off on the guitar, the amp input is muted, and it works very intuitively to a regular Tele player. But you want to bring this pickup in, you have to have this pot up, more on that in a minute, and then you turn this down to have a whole bunch of this pickup. and then you just turn it, this knob clockwise, this backs off. So that when this is all the way clockwise, there's not a big difference. There is a difference, but not a big difference between just having this engaged or not engaged. If I were to do a blender pot for that, it would still work counterclockwise, but when this was fully clockwise, the wiper would lift from the track, and this would be identical to having this thing pulled. But the owner is going to have to decide whether he really wants all that fine control. Because all that stuff is great in a studio situation or at home. And, you know, Brent Mason, he's under the studio microscope, great. But live, where was that I liked that again? It's a lot to keep track of live. And that expanded range of sounds comes at the cost of being able to actually adjust this volume pot easily on stage, because there's just no room for your pinky between the two pots, at least my pinky. It makes the volume pot harder to deal with. If it were my guitar, I'd probably just do a two-holer, just volume and tone and the push-pull, and then just set this blend with a fixed resistor. Hey, this is how much I always like. And yeah, give up some control, but I would get back the flexibility of having a volume pot I can reach and adjust quickly, and no confusion as to which is the tone pot and all that. So it's a player's preference thing. This has a lot of control. But it's a lot to deal with live, so totally up to the owner on that. And the reason that I have this wired so that this pickup is only active when this is up, Brent Mason has it wired so it's active when it's down, is because in my thought process, and I can change this back for the owner, it's moving one wire, it's very simple to do, is that say you're playing on the stage and you have this up and almost all the way blended in, you've got a nice clean sound between the neck and the middle. But then you want to turn on an overdrive pedal and use the neck humbucker full tilt. It's much faster to smack it down than to pull it up. So that's where we're at. It's very flexible, works really well now. And the volume does work like standard volume and mutes the amp and all that. It has a very nice taper, and the tone circuit's not going to be messing anything up. And when you roll the volume down a little bit, you're not losing highs. It's very balanced. But it's really finicky because there's not much real estate here. So it's up to the owner when he sees this, if he wants to have all the fine control, or if he wants to have a set and forget thing, fewer options live. I've got his old two-hole plate, put it back. You want to be giving up this sound. You just have to choose whether you want that sound or this sound. I would probably go for just a fixed thing about this way. We're just having this up about, 60%. But I'm fine either way. So Steve, when you see this, call me and we'll talk.